At the scene here. About 1 hour later, there were several rounds fired 5 blocks from here, directly south. 1 hour later, there were several rounds fired 5 blocks from here, directly south. Directly south. That I can release, but there is an extensive amount of evidence being recovered here at the scene. And I just want to reiterate that now more than ever, we need our entire community to stand up and to not. My name is Brian O'Hara, Brian, O''Hara. I am the Minneapolis Police Chief. Tonight, our city is grieving. After a relative period of peace, the likes of which had not been seen in at least 5 years, that peace has been shattered. And there are families that are suffering tonight, that are grieving. And this is an absolutely senseless tragedy. Just before midnight this night, Minneapolis police officers responded to 3 ShotSpotter activations at this location and around it. Officers arrived and found 5 victims here at the scene. At the scene, we have 3 victims who have been pronounced deceased, 2 males and 1 female. There are 2 additional victims who were transported to the hospital, 1 male and 1 female. One of those at the hospital is in grave condition. Early indications are that this shooting has a high probability that it was targeted and potentially gang-related. While the officers were at the scene here, about 1 hour later, there were several rounds fired 5 blocks from here, directly south, on the 3000 block of 15th Avenue South. Officers responded, and while no victims were found, evidence of gunfire was found there. And shortly thereafter, a person was dropped off at Abbott with non-threatening gunshot wounds. This investigation is obviously in its preliminary stages, and I am particularly limited on the information that I can release, but there is an extensive amount of evidence being recovered here at the scene, and I just want to...
This is the Minneapolis press conference on 5 people shot, 3 lost their lives.
Reiterate that now more than ever, we need our entire community to stand up and to not accept this level of violence. And it is proven that if people are able to come forward with information as soon as possible that will help us to provide some sense of justice for these victims and these family members. And with that, I'll open it up if anyone has any questions.
Chief, you had talked about it was relatively quiet for homicides, and then this has happened for this neighborhood.
I hope you feel better, Arctic Fox. For me, it's a fibrofluid.
What is that? What does that say for the people around here?
Well,
it's gonna rain here in an hour.
I can't speculate as to the motive in this incident, but it's very clear. These victims.
Who is?
The
person that they're saying did this?
I mean,
Or
there was extensive efforts by police, firefighters, and EMS to try and provide aid so that everyone could survive here, but they were not successful.
Thank you for the fucking Rilla.
Again, I am limited about what I feel comfortable disclosing, so as to not compromise.
Hold on, let me see if I missed something here. Hold on. Oh, Karen, got you. See, I've been feeling the weather that's going to come today since yesterday. My fibro is really bad today. Good morning. Thank
Can
you, Karen.
can you comment on is this a large crime scene? I had heard maybe the alley or the street.
Yeah, so the crime scene is directly
Good
behind you.
morning.
There's a vehicle here that is associated with it. And we believe, some of our victims were inside that vehicle. And there's additionally one male that is a victim who's on the sidewalk.
Thank
Two
you.
shot spotter notifications were here.
Thank you for the follow, Nina. This is in Minneapolis. This is a press conference after 5 people were shot and 3 people lost their lives. This was as of 3 hours ago.
Next to the alley, and there's an additional shot spotter notification
It appears there's been
around the
multiple.
same time, about 1 block north near the alley, that we think that's related to this.
Do you think any of the cameras in the area will help?
There's one.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate it. Binksy is sleeping on his new bed because he got a new bed because he's sick. And yeah, Aaron has a fever still. He's about to go take a shower. I just got done in my bath because my body was hurting, so I had to soak. You guys are not getting the full Michelle today either. My hair is still wet. It's going to be going up in a ponytail. I'm not even going to do my eyebrows.
Multiple cameras for sure, and it's still very early in the investigation, but
Yeah, he took it.
we're confident there's a substantial amount of evidence here to see.
Is there anything you wanted to say? When we got here, there was a lot of family showing up to the scene. Just a difficulty with that, seeing as
He has flu type B. I guess that's really bad, and it's been going around. They don't want him returning to work for a whole week.
something like this.
Yeah. Our
Thank you for
our
the follow,
hearts
Joanne.
certainly go out to the victims, their
Thank you,
loved
Joanne.
ones. Our officers were here while family members were arriving and just wailing in pain. That's always difficult anytime, there's one victim, let alone to have these multiple victims, and then to have to.
So I know it might be getting kind of hard to hear because of all the background noise there, but there's 5 people that were shot, 3 are deceased, and 1 is in very serious condition, guys. And this is in Minneapolis. This was a press conference from 3 hours ago. There's also just been a press conference less than an hour ago on the FSU shooting, as well as Sam had told me about Times Square. So there's something going on there too. There's a lot. It's one of those days you just need to stay the hell home. Let's see what we've got here. Where'd it go? Oh, here we go. Let's hear about what's going on in New York City.
We have lots
Times
of police
Square.
news to cover here. We'll get
Good
to it just a
morning.
bit. But we want to also mention that earlier this month, the NYPD launched a new quality of life
Thank you.
division, Q teams.
Ooh,
They've been
thank
responding
you.
to 311 complaints from New Yorkers. Well, it's a
I'm not gonna lie, Julie. I hoped that was gonna go on Karen's head. Are you okay, Nita? Binks is on pain meds too. He's out cold. I wish I was on pain meds.
Citywide effort to tackle persistent quality of life concerns like public drinking, urinating, illegal scooters, aggressive panhandling. But this morning, too, we're going to start with breaking news because there was a shooting in the middle of Times Square. With us right now, NYPD Chief of Department John Schell. Nice to have you back
guys,
on
good
Good Day.
to see you.
What do we know about the shooting? We heard one person.
Mine's flared up bad too, Nita.
Actually,
I'm
3 people
sorry.
under arrest this morning, right?
Right, so about 4:45 this morning, we have a group of young adults in Times Square. Looks like they're having a dispute as to why with some food cart vendors. And then one of the males from the group goes in the middle of the street and fires multiple rounds, striking the food.
Why do we live in a world where a dispute ends with people getting stabbed and shot? Whatever happened to trying to talk shit out or just not talking at all? You don't got to turn to violence. Damn.
card vendor in his arm, so he'll be okay. And quick response by uniformed cops in Midtown North. We apprehended 3 people in the subway, and we believe we might have the shooter at this time. It's still a little early.
Hasn't
Our
Nina?
detectives will work through that, but quick response. We're glad he's going to be okay. What they were fighting about, well, we'll figure it out
Was
later.
one of them on a scooter? Because there was talk there was an e-bike
Lacey, I don't think our world is evil. I think there's a lot of people in it that are evil, and that's the problem.
scooter in the middle of the block, and that police were looking for some guy who was bald in shorts.
No, it looks like this group walked across 47th Street, one step back into the middle of the street, fires down towards the vendors. But a good quick response. At least we think we have them off the street, which is a good thing. But we'll work through this today.
What can you tell us about the overnight shooting, police-involved shooting in Brooklyn?
Right, so last night,
And Brooklyn?
some uniformed cops engaged a white Porsche on the Bell Park with stolen plates. They tried to pull him over. He took over a high rate of speed. So they called ahead to the other precincts on the Bell Parkway to see if we could shut traffic down. At that point, by the Canarsie Circle, this white car at a high rate of speed comes out, 4 police officers, 1 lieutenant very close, a shot is fired. The car goes another exit, crashed into one of our police cars,
3
and he
shootings.
succumbed to his injuries. Very
Good
very
morning,
dangerous.
Tricia.
Yeah, very
How are you?
dangerous situation. And the driver stolen car. We see a lot of high-end stolen cars these days. And this person was on probation for stolen cars, bringing them into New York City from Pennsylvania. So dangerous situation last night.
You arrested the passenger in that
Yeah,
case?
the passenger also was arrested. Also, right at the scene.
Was this
Right
part of a
crash.
theft ring, both guys? Or both?
Not sure, but the person
Sir, you talking about 2 different shootings is making me confused. Did you guys catch the first guys? That's my question.
who stole the car was on federal probation for interstate commerce of stolen cars into New York City. So again, that investigation is still going on also. So it was a long night last night.
Can we talk about quality of life? Because
If only they would, Teresa. If only they would. Your power's out, Parker? Did you guys get a bad storm? Good morning, Kelly. Binks is knocked out cold on his new little bed behind me. He stopped freaking out last night. It was a rough night, though. I barely got any sleep. And then my fibro flared, and I had a headache. So this is the me. You're getting my hairs going back up. I'm not even doing my eyebrows. It's just one of those days. But we cannot avoid the cross-examination of Karen Reed, which we'll be getting started in just a bit here. I just wanted to check where we're at with all these shootings that happened.
you now have this Q team, lots of phone calls about
Oh, just like.
what's the most irritating to New Yorkers, would you
Well,
say?
the most irritating New Yorkers is probably abandoned vehicles, noise, and we're trying to queue teams. We're trying to respond to community complaints
It's that
in
kind
a
of day.
proactive manner, utilizing all the tools that we have in the NYPD, plus beyond it to agencies. And the key is to try to help people fix their problem. They're calling us, fix their problem, get back to people as we're fixing their problem. People want to be spoken to. People want to know the progress of their.
What caused your guys' power to go out? I'm only asking because if I remember correctly, across the pond and in other countries, Spain, they got their power. They were in total blackouts, and it came out of nowhere. Even their phones shut off, all at the same time.
Complaint, and when you do that, it feels good. Most people are concerned about the city, but they want to know what's going on their block. What bothers you on your block? And can we fix that?
Right. I know a lot of people calling in about Roosevelt Avenue in Queens because they said, there were people on the street and looked like human trafficking and prostitution. What's going?
They got off topic. If you guys are here wanting for the Karen Reed, Bay Bridge Airport. Sandra, can you start looking Bay Bridge Airport? There's been a plane. Here it is. I got it. Never mind. You don't have to look. That's crazy. Is Catnip in here? All right, we're over Bay Bridge Airport where a plane reportedly runs off the runway. I'm guessing that we'll see it. Did you? Okay, thank you. My hair is drying so fast. I don't like this whole aging thing. Parker. Julie, can you put in the chat that we're live, please? Nothing's come through yet, Sandra. Maybe it's my delay. I'm going to rewind this and see if he's on his way home. Okay, hold on. The live view isn't going to do us any good, so I'm going to go back 20 minutes. Oh, we start. No, no. Ow. We got a flash goal started, guys. If I can get one rose from 13 different people, that would be greatly appreciated. Catnip, did you talk to your brother? Thank you, thank you. Is this going to be the 6th day in a row that we knock a flash goal out? All right, this is the plane that ran off the runway at Bay Bridge Airport. This is Fox 5, Washington, D.C. Let me make it bigger. But is the power back on, I mean? Nope, not there. Where is it? It's right by the edge of the water. It's a small plane. Thank you, Rhonda. How many more do we need? It kind of did? Okay. See, something's up. Even part of the UK had the power out. We need 8 more, you said? Oh, let me send one with my backup, too. Oh, I don't have any. Can I exchange? There we go. Oh. That's a very up close view of the inside. Thank you, Lori. Good morning, Renee. We only need 4 more roses from 4 different people. We only need 3 more roses from 3 different people. Thank you, Sam. Thank you, MJ. Oh, we're going with Jill first, then MJ? Okay, Jill. We did it. Thank you so much, guys. This is 6 flash goals in a row. I don't know much about them. I haven't looked into it, to be honest. But when they say do them, we do them, and we're meeting them. So thank you guys so much. I really appreciate it. Thank you, thank you. So this plane ran off the runway and ended up near the ponds, but why is it so busted up? I know this is probably shaking. I'm holding it so you guys could see closer. It looks like it's partially in the water. Thank you, Lori. So does anybody know why it went off the runway? You just saw the military go by. Hold on. Let me look. Okay, let's start researching why the power is out where you're at. Did you call the gas or the power company? Gas company. Your PA, right? Okay. Current, no. Over 200,000 are without power. Hold on, I got the article. Over 500,000 people were left. You just said 200, now you're saying 500. Make up your mind. Over 500,000 people were left without power Tuesday evening after severe storms swept through various parts of western Pennsylvania. So that's what did it. Last reported, 240,000 customers remain without power. Crews are working to safely assess damage due to severe weather that has moved through the area on April 29th. Once it is complete, more information will become available. Western Power also reported over 260,000 customers remain without power on its website. The company urged customers to remain alert and stay away from any down power lines. So maybe that's it. Maybe there's down power lines. I don't know. Do you get the military going by often there? Let's go back to look at the plane now that we know anyways. When you said the military is there, I wanted to check just to be safe. Why are there regular vehicles driving on the airstrip? The plane is right here, right on the edge of this water here. There is a lot going on. If you guys are coming in and you're for Karen Reed, don't worry, we'll be getting started in a little bit, but there's a lot happening. All right, let's go back a little closer so we can get a close-up look again. There we go. It just went off the runway and crashed there. Is your power back on, Nighthawk? Then I wouldn't worry, Parker. I'd just stay inside. Really lucid. So, already today, we have a plane that's run off the strip and crashed. A small plane that you're seeing here. We've had at least 3 shootings. When you said Jelly, I'm like, where's Jelly? Something happened in Jelly? I didn't get very much sleep. To be completely honest with you guys, everything that I'm reading about the power outages in Spain, Portugal, and the UK, Times Square and Minnesota. Times Square was the 3 people shooting at a vendor. Minnesota is 5 shot, 3 deceased. I'll circle back, don't worry. But everything that I've been hearing about the power outages and everything, the way it's going, you said that your phones went out too at the same time, or their phones went out too, right, Lucid? Now, I'm not a professional in any of that, but that reminds me a lot of an EMP. Not trying to cause anything, I'm just being honest with you guys. That's what I think of when it described it to me yesterday, is EMP. That's what, because the cell phone's going off too, powering down. How else could that happen at the same time? Well, we know that in Spain the cell phones didn't get shut off, right, Catnip? I don't trust anything right now. And they're not telling you guys anything? It doesn't make sense. Sam, are you still in here? You guys remember how a couple days ago TikTok and YouTube wasn't working? It was like really acting up. That happened right before Spain and Portugal lost power and part of the UK. Coincidence? Don't know. Okay, so all we know right now is that they keep showing us this plane that went off the runway and crashed on the edge of this lake or whatever. And this is in DC at Bay Bridge Airport. I agree with you, Lucid. And I know a lot of people don't like conspiracy, but we're friends here, so I could say it. There is some serious issues with that. It reminds me so much of Fast and Furious when they, in that one Fast and Furious where the vehicles drove themselves out of the parking garage. Yeah, it just went off the runway. And then we had the shooting yesterday in Illinois. It was a shooting, right, Sandra? Here in Illinois. Sorry, when my fibro fog's flared, my memory gets worse. And then we had a mass casualty event yesterday off the Florida coast when a boat did a hit and run. I don't know what the hell is going on out there, you guys. Here's something that will kind of make you laugh a little. Do you know why P. Diddy says he couldn't have been the one to do it? He couldn't have been, he wasn't responsible for making the decisions for the things he's done? Because he was drunk and elevated. We'll say elevated. So he couldn't have possibly made any decisions for all of his charges. Carmelo Anthony's judge was doxxed. There was an exorcism done in Fort Worth. I mean, at what point? Exactly. It's not an excuse. It's laughable that he's even trying to say that. Which we have his trial starting soon too. That's what TMZ said. Not that everything TMZ says is true. I'm just saying that's what I read on TMZ. Blame it on that. Yeah. Authorities detained a pursuit suspect wanted for assault on a police officer. The lawyer for the family of FSU shooting victim held a press conference. Another dead body has been found in New England. Does that mean it's 11? I don't know if you guys know this, but I'm going to tell you a secret. There's bodies being found up the East Coast. No, wait. Yeah, it did now. It didn't alert me, so hold on. The hell he does? Diddy wants to silence Cassie with a gag order. Teens arrested after 3 people shot dead in Sweden. Thank you for the follow, Jen. At a hair salon. There is something fundamentally wrong in this world right now. Good point. I would love to ask him that question. When is his first trial date? Let me look. Ow. Hold on. Sorry, when my fibro flares, it gets hard to pick stuff up. Where's May? He starts on the 5th, so he starts in just a few days. I never really actually went to bed. I slept in the office with Binks because I was so worried. So I'm on very little energy, a fibro flare, and my migraine went down to a headache. So it's something. May 5th, yeah. I have it in my book, May 5th. Now the question is, are they going to allow cameras in the courtroom? I thought when it was federal, there wasn't. So, Sam, if you could figure that out, look it up and let me know. I would greatly appreciate it. Yes, you did. I'm so proud of you. One of us has to start remembering something. I laugh at my own jokes. Okay. We also... Wait a minute. What is Luigi's new court date? Jen says for Diddy, I believe. Sam says no. Let's double check, though. You don't have it too, do you, Jen? I know LT was starting to keep our schedule. We need to go over it. I'm so sorry that you have it too. That is not fun. I found that a lot of people that follow true crime tend to have pain conditions, and it is the weirdest thing. All right, I'm going to put my hair up now because it's basically dry and it's frizzed. But how many bodies is it going to take before they admit that there could be a serial unaliver in New England? That makes zero sense to me. I have RA as well. Oh, you have fibro? I'm so sorry, Silent Watcher. Is that what, does the 420 help? I'm not making a joke, I'm asking. I think so too, Jen. Okay, thanks, Sam. Thank you, Silent Watcher. I have to use it too. I use gummies sometimes, and sometimes it will at least distract my mind from the pain. Are you serious, Julie? Okay, then. Let me scratch him out here, then. So then we have... Don't worry, guys. We'll get started on Karen Reed in a little bit. I'm just trying to give people time to get in because I did say noon today, so... I have Diddy down as being the 5th. If they don't have it, hold on, I gotta click for a redirect. All right, let's be honest here. Let's just be completely honest. If you don't know who Diddy is, I'm questioning if you live under a rock. I don't know how anybody doesn't know who this man is. Yeah, I know they did, but he's, yeah. Lucid, I was on, okay, how do you say this in a safe word? If you guys are annoyed that we're switching topics, a lot of us have a lot of the same conditions. That's just how we roll here. Mentanol. I was on that, and yes, I can see your comment. It's been auto-filtering. I was on Mentanol. Do you know what I mean? They made me take that. And I told them I wasn't taking it anymore after my cousin died. Because that's what killed it, was that. I couldn't take it after that at all. And I'm no longer on any pain medicine. The only thing I'm on is my gummies. Make sure that they believe in fibromyalgia. In Illinois here, where I'm at, not a lot of doctors believe in fibromyalgia, so it's hard to get a treatment doctor. That's the situation I'm in. Okay, so how jurors will be chosen for Sean Diddy Combs' sex trafficking. I should not have said those words either. It doesn't do anything for me. Those don't do anything for me. And if you do find a doctor that actually treats for that, it's slim. Not only that, but they're booked for over a year. Are you? Mm-hmm. She sure does. I used to go for injections to my knee. I need them in my hip and I need them in my back now, but I haven't been able to find a pain doctor to take over for the last one that no longer practices. I could not find an Illinois pain doctor for the life of me. Gabapentin doesn't do anything for me. And I just want to state a disclaimer. I am not a medical professional, just in case the ears that be. No, I don't have a rheumatologist either. Sorry, I'm hiccuping and I haven't eaten anything, so I don't know why. I'm going to have to call up Medicare and ask them to help me find one. Is it JK? I am so sorry. Yeah, Gabs are dangerous. I don't take them. They prescribed them to me and I just had a gut feeling. I took them for a while. It didn't change anything, so I just stopped taking them. I need to start doing that for my hip, but I'm scared. I also need to figure out what the hell is wrong with my spine. You know what we need to put in our book is when my doctor's appointment is, so I know. I keep forgetting that. I think it's June 2nd with my regular doctor. I need to have some serious talks with him. Okay, so hundreds of New Yorkers who have been summoned for jury duty will appear in federal court in Manhattan this week to complete questionnaires. The U.S. District Judge, who is overseeing the case, selected jury selection for next Monday. Combs has pleaded not guilty. We already know that part. Okay, so prosecutors argued that a proposed 72-question survey Combs' team submitted April 11th was too long and that it covered personal topics such as a different essay, and domestic violence that should be asked by the judge in person, if at all. Is it? Well, let me know before your surgery. If you don't mind, I'll pray for you. Oh, Jesus, that sounds horrible. That's how it feels like my spine is. It feels like it's breaking away. Samantha, what's the test I need to have them run? The tests to see what other conditions I have so we can make sure I'm diagnosed properly. I can't remember the name of it. Samantha's been telling me I need to have this test done on the immune panel. I'm going to ask him for that on my appointment. That way we could see if I was possibly misdiagnosed. I'll tell you a secret, silent watcher. I can only walk for a couple minutes. My body can't hold me up any longer. My back can't hold the top half of me up, and my legs can't hold the bottom half of me up. I just found out that I'm vitamin D deficient, and what's the other thing, Sam? I talked with this about her, and it's a good thing I did because I can never remember it. No, I haven't been. Hyperthyroidism. I love how Lori knew what we were going to say too. Hypothyroidism. Well, I didn't know. Wait, what day of the week is this? Did I take my vitamin D pill today? Or this week? I don't think I did. I'm dangerously low on vitamin D. I'm all the way to the left. I didn't know that. My hair has been breaking off. And I just, a whole bunch of stuff. Whole bunch of stuff. My hair is thinning, and Binks is pulling it out too. My eyebrows are thinning. They already did check my thyroid. Yes, I'm on 50,000 units. Yep. I've tried IGK hair masks. It's a spray. I think I moved it up to my other thing. Wait, here it is. This is a hair mask. It's called Antisocial. It's a time-release, bond-building dry hair mask. Is it a hair mask? I need to know. Okay, for those of you that know what I'm talking about, I need to know a good shampoo because Dove, I think, is messing with my hair. I also use that stuff that you put in your hair and you leave it in for a while, the collagen stuff. By the way, guys, if you guys are looking for my showcase again, you won't find it on this account. It's only on my backup, so it's on the Michelle N side. And I haven't even gotten enough time to put everything over there. I can no longer show products and do videos on products because I was pinning them during lives when we were talking about them, and then when we were done talking, I would take them off. They wouldn't be pinned anymore. I didn't know that you were supposed to only have the live be about that. I'm glad that you guys just reminded me. Today is my first day. No, because I got 24 points, and 24 points is the max. I don't know how, though, because it was all the same stuff. I didn't know what it was because the reports never told me. Today is the first day for Maylee's Collagen and Biotin. This one's mixed berry. So I finished Spoiled Child. That one's done. Anything with keratin and collagen. Well, that's what I've been using. Let me shake this up. Take 1 tablespoon daily. Dilute with water as needed. I think it's better just to take it as if it's a shot. So you guys are going to get my reaction on the taste of this. I'm not nervous at all. I'm not nervous. It's only this much. Michelle, stop. I need a good everyday wash, hair washing stuff. Okay, ready? Set. It's got a weird aftertaste, just like the other one did. Now I see why they said mix it with something. But for that amount, I'm not going to mix it with something because then I'm going to make whatever I mix it with taste bad. Okay, so this is day one of of Maylee's collagen plus biotin. So it's liquid collagen, hair, nails, stuff like that. Day one, be gone. Spoiled child, that bottle is completely gone now. You said that after I took it? Really? Hold on. The aftertaste for Spoiled Child was bad too. It tasted like melted butterscotch. Just a weird taste. All right, let's hear this one.
It is 6:57 on your Wednesday. Taking a look at
Thank
today's
you,
top
Lucio.
news headlines. Today will be a remote learning day for Walkertown Middle and High Schools. Official.
All right, so a Trenton man is in jail after police say he had an AK-style pistol at ECU Health Medical Center last night. The hospital said on Tuesday around 8 p.m. a man with the firearm was apprehended by ECU Health outside the hospital. His name is Jacob Tripp. He was charged with having that firearm on educational property. A warrant says it was an AK-style pistol. It did not say whether it was loaded or not. In a statement, the hospital said the police determined there was no threat to the public and the hospital remained fully operational. 29-year-old Tripp remains in jail on a... Somebody's going to roll up with that kind of a weapon and you're only going to give them a $5,000 bond? Are you serious right now? This was by you, right? Where's this at? Thank you, Parker. He had an AK-style pistol outside of ECU Medical Center. The charges is having a firearm by on an educational property. That's new for me. I've never heard it put that way. Where did my other thing go? Hold on. I'm going to put my scheduling book away. We're good on dates, right? So we have a lot of stuff that happened today. A lot. We've got a plane that ran off the runway. We've got a shooting that happened in Times Square. What the hell? There's so many. Hold on, I gotta get back in because when I switch a page, it makes me get back in again. Allegheny County. Does that ring a bell, Parker? We'll be starting Karen Reed in just a few minutes, guys, but there's a lot of headlines to cover. And I just want to make sure we got them all. Oh, it just went away. I think it was Allegany County. Hi, Jill. How are you? Good morning, Glam. They got an update about, they're going to be doing an update. I don't know where, but there's an update. Yes, that one. Thank you. Thank you, Glam. So let's just pull up my history so we could go over the list of the many things that are going on today. Authorities detain pursuit suspect wanted on assault of a police officer. Lawyer of family of FSU shooting victim holds news conference. Carmelo Anthony judge was doxxed. Denton County official stabbed, and there was an exorcism done in Fort Worth. A plane ran off a runway at Bay Bridge Airport. A small plane. New York in Times Square, a food cart vendor was shot. 3 people are arrested. Minneapolis, there was a mass shooting. 5 people shot, 3 deceased, 1 in very serious condition. I feel like I'm forgetting something. I didn't see it say that, what the type it was. Hold on. Mila, stop. She doesn't know where her dad is, so she's crying. And she can't come in here because she's hissing at Binks. You know the juror in Daybell that spoke outside the courthouse, the older man? He can't sleep now. Is Newton close to you? You could tell me that, Sandra, but I think we both know in 5 minutes I'm not going to remember how to say it. Allegany. Did I say Allegany? Man attacks pregnant woman in parking lot. Woman brutally assaulted in Montgomery County last night. Florida man finds 5 missing teen paddleboarders. Good man. Okay. Remind me to send you that picture too. I keep meaning to send you that screenshot, and I keep forgetting. It does, and I have something to confess. When I logged onto YouTube at like 7 this morning, or something like that, a video popped up and started playing. And I realized what it was. It's a video from inside the waterfall. I didn't watch the whole thing, but there is reason for there to be concern of what happened in Waterfall. We need to take a vote if you guys want to see it. As a virtual jury, I want to say at least all have the option to see the same thing. Like I said, I didn't keep watching it, but I saw that part. Okay, Parker. Alright, I'm going to do a poll. That way you guys could just decide if you want me to show it. If you want to see this short part of this video, smile face. If you do not, cry face. It's not something that's been shown in court. I want to make that very clear. Yeah, click on the emojis. I always forget that. Thank you, Jill. You click on them instead of typing them in. It's a bar. It's a bar that John O'Keefe went to. If you want to see the clip that I accidentally watched a short little bit of because it opened on my YouTube, it is about this case. If you want to see what I saw so we're on the same page as a jury, I'm willing to play that short part for you guys. If you want it, the smile face. If you don't want it, cry. Never mind, it's over. Okay. All right, so a collective of us has voted to see that. So hold on, let me find it. This is literally titled Leaving the Waterfall. I didn't watch it past here, so this is where we stop. In my opinion, hell yes, it helps Karen. Because when we're seeing them walking out of the waterfall, they're fighting and they grab each other. Jen is not there. Does anybody know which one John O'Keefe is? Let me see. Higgins starts to raise his arm to signal to John. Then Chris Albert aggressively stops him. You could see Higgins is a bit shook by this. Chris appears stressed too. The three men converse. Chris raises his arm to Brian, and then Higgins is allowed to continue. What did he not want him to tell John or anything like that? Now, I have no way to confirm that this isn't a made-up video. This is on Microdots. This one. Keep in mind, you guys, I've never gone to this person's page. I don't know what their page is about. But this video, it says new cleaned up version. Just as Higgins starts to raise his arm to signal to John, Chris Albert aggressively stops him. You can see Higgins is a bit shook. Hold on. Okay, thank you. They look so cute together. I just wanted to make sure we were all on the same page, that you guys saw what I saw. That's my opinion too. I don't know. I honestly don't know. It says special thanks to True Crime Kangaroo. So I'm guessing they got it from maybe True Crime Kangaroo. So I cannot say that this has been substantiated. This is 100% legit. I cannot say that. But when one of the men puts hands on another man, and that man that did that happened to own the house where he was found outside, yeah, I would be concerned, and I hope to hell that they bring this in. So we're all on the same page now, right? We're all even on what information we have. Are we ready? It looks like there was a tornado in Ada, Oklahoma. I'm not 100% positive. That's why I said take it with a grain of salt, because I just found it this morning. I didn't find it. It fell in my lap, actually. But that wasn't a couple. That was a group of men. Samantha, that was a man. Mila? Oh, okay, I get you. It was a Michelle moment. All right, we're getting ready to start. Now today, I agree with that. I also find it odd that they never came out of the house when he was in their front yard deceased. Okay, so what we're starting with today is a continuation of Jen McCabe. She is on the stand and it's prosecution's turn. I cannot wait for the defense to question her. And I have one question right now that I'd be asking her. Ma'am, yesterday you said, I love John. I like Karen. Now, what kind of love would that be? Is it a romantic love? And that's what's sus, Jen, in my opinion. Everything I say in here is just my opinion, you guys. Just take it with however you want on that. All right, let's get this pulled up so we could start. I'm aware it starts at 8. We start later so we could zoom through the lunch. Binksy, where are you, baby? Binksy, come here. You have aunties that want to see you. Come here. Come here. What are you doing? Before we get started, here's Binksy. He's no Conan. He's not as medicated as he was, but he'll probably need his other medicine soon. In my opinion as well, Showers. He scared me last night, I'm not going to lie. Okay, do you want to cuddle while we do this? All right, let's get going. What are you trying to find, young man? Hold on. Where do you want to go? Want me to put you down? Okay. Your godmama loves you. He went, mm. Now you won't back up? Make up your mind. Do you want up or down? Tell me you're done. It was. I have 3 females. One's Nala, one's Abby, one is Mila, and this is my boy Binks. He had surgery, so he's recovering. All right. Are we ready to start? Honey, you're not going to find a good angle that way. Here, go this way. I need you guys to help me convince Aaron that we get a puppy. Are you hallucinating again? There's nothing up there, I swear it.
Being prompt and ready to go this morning, there was something I needed to discuss with the lawyers to help streamline the evidence that will be presented to you today. So I appreciate your patience. I do have to ask you those questions. Were you all able to follow my instructions and refrain from discussing this case with anyone since you left yesterday? Everyone said yes or nodded affirmatively. Were you also able to follow my instructions and refrain from doing any independent research or investigation into this case? Everyone said yes or affirmatively. Did anyone happen to see, hear, or read anything about this
Samantha's really good at that.
case since we left yesterday? Everyone said no or should be.
What are you sorry for?
Could we have Ms. McKay back, please?
Are you apologizing to Her Honor? That's not your fault, though. That was my fault. Binksy was super small when we got him. He's the smallest kitten we've ever gotten.
Mr. Kidd, I'll remind you, you're still under oath. Thank you.
I swear he thinks he's seeing stuff on the ceiling.
Good morning, Ms. McCabe.
Good morning.
Baby, there's nothing there, honey. All right, Miss McCabe, let's see what you got.
Good morning.
Good morning.
No, they're not at this stage yet, Josie.
Before you take us back to Fairview Road, I want to ask you a couple of questions about John's house at Meadows. Are you familiar with this house?
Yes.
Have you seen the front of his house before?
You're welcome.
Yes, I have.
Are you familiar with his driveway?
Yes.
Are you familiar with whether there's any surveillance system at Mr. O'Keefe's house?
Yes.
May I approach, Your Honor?
Yes.
Okay.
Ms. McCabe, I'm showing you what has been previously marked as Exhibit 6. Do you recognize that photo?
Yes, I do.
And what is it?
That's John O'Keefe's house.
We provide Exhibit 6 to the jury.
That is a rumor I also heard. But being as we're the virtual jury in here, we can't look into it further. Hold on, I need to check on Mila. I'll play this, but I need to go check on her. And probably my husband.
Yes.
Marked as Exhibit 8. Do you recognize that?
Yes. That is the side of Mr. O'Keefe's house, the two garage doors.
Is there any indication of surveillance?
Looks, there's a Ring camera right here. Looks.
in the bathroom.
Is that what John O'Keefe's side of his house looks like?
shower. Everything's okay.
Yes.
Okay.
I want to show you Exhibit 10. You recognize what's in that photo?
Okay, I found it.
Yes.
What is it?
It is the driveway at John O'Keefe's.
See a car to the left?
Yes.
Do you know whose car that is?
Yes, that's Miss Reed's.
You know, we left it the night before. For those early morning hours when we drove to Mr. O'Keefe's house.
Yes.
I want to show you it's been marked as Exhibit 11. You recognize what's in that photo?
Yes, Miss Reed's vehicle.
Is that the vehicle that Mr. Reed showed you with the broken missing taillight?
Yes, it is.
You mentioned earlier in the night, you spoke to John O'Keefe when you called him or he called you about directions to Fairview Road.
Yes.
And you also shared that you had a phone conversation offering directions.
Yes, I did.
Did you tell John that the house at Fairview was near Bella's mom's house?
Sustained is to form, Mr. Brennan.
What did you tell John as far as directions to Fairview? How did you mark it for him?
I told him to go by, past Bella's house, Bella's street, and then to follow it down to the end.
Now I want you to take us back where we were yesterday when we left off. You had brought us to Fairview Road. You had found John.
Yes.
You shared with us that you were trying chest compressions. Before the chest compressions, did you make a phone call?
I called 911.
It's okay.
I'd like to move to introduce a copy of that 911 call.
Okay. Do you have something for?
We start late, Jen, so that way we can fast forward through their lunch. No, she was too hysterical. So they called.
Basically to, thank you.
Ms. McLaughlin does.
Thank you. Thank you.
With the court's permission, I'd like to play Exhibit 45.
Yes.
No, this is for emergency.
Yes, I'm returning from the third floor to, third floor view, but we just got the video kept out of the snow.
Can't hold up, can't really stop. You can't get it all, okay?
Yeah, we're going to do it.
He has the house, that's it on.
15 volts, like 39 areas, 15. Okay. I don't think I can tell you. Can't get that. What's going on? There's a guy unresponsive in the snow. In the snow? Yes, for the Alpha resident. Yeah, I just pulled up behind it.
You want the light to run?
Let's see if you can now. Yes.
Where's your emergency?
Yes, I'm sorry. Can you come to 34 Fairview Road in Houston?
34 Fairview?
Yes, there's a man unresponsive in the snow.
Okay. In the, well,
He's gonna get here, okay?
okay. What's going on? Is he face down?
We just switched him over.
Okay. And who's that in the background? Is that someone related?
Make it time for the light to go.
Okay, how old is he?
John is 46 years old.
46. How long has he been outside?
I don't know. I don't know. He got out of the car and I heard it in a couple of hours. Is he Jerry? Is he? I don't know if he's breathing. There are two women trying to heat and they're hysterical.
Okay, can you try asking? I know it's tough, but we gotta get the fire department going. They just gotta know.
Is he breathing? It doesn't seem to be breathing.
Okay, do they know how to do CPR? Do they want to attempt CPR?
Yes, he's got to do CPR. No, I guess he's gone.
Okay, they don't feel comfortable doing so?
No, I think he's passed away.
Okay. All right, the fire department and the police department on the way. If everyone's declining CPR, then I'll hang up with you, and if anything changes, you can give us a call back. Where are you guys outside?
Right up front of the car. I know, on the phone with the Andrews. I know. Kevin, you gotta get off of me. Kevin, you gotta get off of here.
You know if there's any alcohol or drugs involved?
She's saying, please don't stop.
They're not drinking. Okay, is there any bleeding? I think maybe in his head.
Yes, absolutely. I think he's bleeding in the face.
Okay, bleeding from the face. All right.
Yes.
And how big the pool of blood is, if there is any?
So I think that one of the ones that they do.
Yeah, CPR.
Okay, one moment.
I think.
CPR?
Yes, that's working on him.
All right, CPR, and just give us a call back if you tell us your sponsor, right? But we're on the way.
Thank you for the follow, Melissa.
Mr. McCabe, describe your mental state when you were speaking to 911.
I guess the best way to describe it was I was in shock. My heart was racing. I was trying to be as helpful as I could and get the information to the most important information out as quick as I could to the 911 operators. But also the scene there with Karen and Kerry was a bit chaotic between the two of them. So I was just trying my best to be as calm as I could, to get help there as fast as I could, and to answer their questions the best that I could.
Before you told the 911 operator John O'Keefe's name and his age, you said there's a man in the snow. Do you know why you chose those words?
I think I just wanted to get out the most specific details. So a man in the snow versus, John
Thank you,
O'Keefe
Melissa.
into a story. I think I just was get the details to them as fast as possible, to get help there to him as fast as possible.
When you told the 911 operator that your friend John O'Keefe was the person lying in the snow, how did you know his age?
We used to joke because he was a couple months older than me. So I would, say, oh, you're older than me. It was a silly little thing between friends.
When you called the 911 operator, had Kerry and the defendant already been around or near John?
Yes.
Do you know if they had begun trying CPR before you called 911?
I'm not sure if they had, because Karen had straddled him and lifted her shirt, was warming him up, and then Kerry was yelling at her to get off. And I think when Kerry got the blankets and was trying to put him under John, I think as she started to move him and wipe him, blood started to come out. And then Karen was afraid that he was going to choke on his blood and wanted to move him on his side. But then Kerry was yelling at her, we can't move him. And this was kind of all going on while I was talking to 911.
You described what you saw, and you said at some point he was bleeding from the face area. Was that before or after he was moved?
After.
Thank you, Julie.
Before he was moved, did you see any active bleeding?
No.
Thank you for the follow.
After you called 911, what do you do next?
I think I called my sister and she didn't answer. And then I think I called her as I was walking over to John and she didn't answer. And then I immediately got down on the ground and Kerry Roberts asked me to take over.
How long did you try to help John for?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure.
How long were you and the defendant and Miss Roberts there before someone else arrived?
Police officer was the first to arrive. In the moments, it seemed like a long time, but I think it was fairly quick that they arrived.
Any point during the time when you tried to help Mr. O'Keefe and the first police officer arrived, at any point did you see any signs of life from Mr. O'Keefe?
No.
When the police officer first arrived, do you remember what happened next?
I remember it was very chaotic, but there was talk about a spotlight. And I remember, I think I got up and ran to kind of wave to get police officers' attention so we could see where we were.
And then what happens?
The police officer, not sure specific, I do remember him asking about John. I think he said, is he a drug user? He was just asking some basic questions.
And what's the environment? What's going on around you?
Karen's just running around crazy, like just yelling, screaming, kind of like a ping pong.
What are you trying to do?
I was just trying to talk to the officer.
Good morning,
I guess I
sugar.
just went into this
How are you?
type of mode of, all right, I have to
Thank you.
just talk to him, get the information out.
Oh no, Lori, I hope that everything's okay. We just started day 7. We're only a few minutes into Jen McCabe's testimony today. If you missed yesterday's, it is up on my YouTube. After every live when we do a trial, I'm putting them on my YouTube. So yesterday's is up. If you guys don't know my YouTube, it's the same name, Michelle's Criminal Musing. The link is also in my bio. I'm doing okay, thank you.
Figure out how we can best help John and what happened to him and try to save him ultimately.
And what happens next?
More officers begin to come, fire and EMT. So the scene becomes active with a lot of different presence. John, I think they lift John onto a board at one point. The officers are asking us questions. Karen's kind of coming over, talking to the questions, and then kind of just running away. And then she just runs back over. She's doing a lot of screaming, a lot of repetitive, is he dead? Is he dead? Is he dead? Could I have hit him? Did I hit him?
Smells, we just started this day. We're only a few minutes in. But if you're meaning her testimony from yesterday, That's on my YouTube. But this one we just started a few minutes ago.
Kerry, I think, Kerry's off kind of making phone calls, I believe, to John's family.
Do you know what time the first responders lifted John from the ground and put him on that bed?
I don't know a time, but it was,
Okay, that's the only question.
okay.
You heard your 911 call. Do you know the time of that 911 call?
Not off the top of my head, no.
At some point, did you talk to a number of different people at the scene?
Yes.
Who were you talking to?
The first officer was Officer Saraf. I know I spoke with him. I spoke with an Officer Lank, an Officer Good. There were other officers, I don't remember their names. There were EMTs, I don't remember their names either.
You've lived in this area for a long time?
Yes,
Active in the community?
yes.
Did you know Sergeant Good from before that night?
I knew of him. I didn't know him personally.
Did you know Detective Lank?
Yes, I knew him.
How did you know him?
We were friendly.
Did children ever
I
associate
agree,
with each other?
Lucid.
Not until recently.
After you had a chance to speak to some of the officers, did you move around at all yourself?
Yes, I kind of, the officers would talk to us here and then a little bit over to the side. I tried to comfort Miss Reed. At one point, Miss Reed was very upset. And one of the officers thought it would be best maybe she went and just sat in one of the cruisers for a little bit because she was just doing a lot of screaming and yelling. And I think they were just trying to, get, work on John and make the scene a little less chaotic.
Aaron?
Yeah, that's you.
I was just making sure that was you.
Yeah.
1 second, guys. Is it time for his medicine?
No, it won't be until tonight.
Okay.
Remember, it's...
Do you want to take him to see if he'll go potty?
It looks like he's passed out.
He keeps doing that groaning thing.
Okay. I'm gonna try to take him.
He's reaching for you. Oh my god.
He's your man, young boy.
I gotta go back live. Or I gotta press play. I mean, I'm already live. They're just getting our comments here. Binks is literally has his arms out reaching for his dad. You purring because you want your daddy? Alright, I'll press play. We won't talk over it.
So I went into the back of the car with her, and Kerry Roberts came over. And then we all were just sat in the back of the, Karen and I kind of were scrunched and sitting in the back, and Kerry was at the door of the cruiser.
Why did you get in the car with the
You want to
defendant?
get down?
She
No?
was
Okay.
crying. She asked me to get in. We held hands. We prayed. She did have blood on her hands, and she said, could I have gotten my period? Who's going to take care of the kids? She just kind of was all over the place. And then at one point, we saw them moving John towards the ambulance. And at that point, Miss Reed started yelling to Miss Roberts, go check on him. Are they working on him? Is he dead? Is he dead? And at that point, myself and Miss Reed got out of the car, and she started yelling and pulling on me to Google hypothermia and Google how long it takes for somebody, to die in the cold.
When the defendant first asked you to Google an inquiry about hypothermia, were you still inside the police cruiser or were you outside?
Outside.
If you guys are new here, please remember we keep things respectful. People can have different opinions here. It makes the world go round. We don't jump on people for different opinions. If you're stating opinions, please state IMO or in my opinion after you say something that looks like it could be something else.
What was the weather? I know it's an obvious question, but how cold was it?
It was very cold, windy, the snow was blowing. As I stated, I have multiple sclerosis, so when I am out in either extremely hot or cold temperatures, I lose the feeling and sensation in my fingers, which obviously made the Googling very hard for me to do because of my, motor skills.
So when you were outside of
She
the
was,
car
I
with
think,
the
always,
defendant,
wasn't
she
she?
had asked you to do a search regarding hypothermia. Did you try to do that?
Yes, I did.
Do you know the exact time from your memory? Not from reading or learning, but from your memory. Do you remember the exact time you did that?
No.
Was it after the police came that morning?
Yes.
Had you ever attempted to search about hypothermia any time before that moment, that morning?
No.
Or that day?
No.
That week?
No.
Was this the first
We're a little bit behind you, sir.
time, after the defendant asked you to search, that you searched that phrase?
Yes, it was.
And did you complete your search and get a result?
So I don't know what came up because I think as I entered it, I think I misspelled things. And so then I think I tried a second search. And again, I don't think I even paid attention to what came up because we were already on to the next thing. Karen was already.
Rosie, I love that you remembered his name is Hank. Yes, this is still Hank's turn. Guys, we don't start on time when we're doing trials as a jury because we like to fast forward through times that we can, so we are not on time. We're just hoping to fast forward through their lunch break.
Moving and screaming about, the next thing to Kerry. Are they working on him?
Guys, please state in my opinion or IMO after your statements.
He did.
Did the defendant move somewhere from the point when she first asked you to try to Google about hypothermia to something else?
She was next to me and then I think she took off. Like she kept kind of running off.
And what did you do?
I believe as they were I think I stood there, I believe as they were putting John into the ambulance, I went back to the original spot where we had been talking to the police. And at that point, a new officer might have come because I remember talking to multiple officers there.
At some point, did you
Good
go back
afternoon,
towards the
Dana. How
area
are
of
you?
Miss Roberts' car?
Yes, that's where I'm referring to. Sorry.
This is the defense questioning Jennifer McCabe. We did not start on time. We never do when we're at the jury. We start late.
At some point,
And thank you for asking, Holly. He's doing a little bit better.
at some point, were you with the defendant when she spoke to an officer and a first responder?
Yes.
Do you remember if the first responder was a man or a woman?
I remember there was a woman right next to us. Yes.
Did you watch it yesterday, Jen? Because I think it's a matter of opinion from hearing his testimony. He admits that he made changes. He deleted that it was searched at 2. I know there's some discrepancies, but I took that way different, the Celebrate testimony yesterday. I did personally. We're only a few minutes in. Guys, we're viewing this as if we're the virtual jury. So please, no spoilers. This is Massachusetts versus Karen Reed. Yeah, he did do a live demo, but they also found out that when he was doing his report, he deleted that original time of 2-something a.m. Yep, I know. I just think different people see the way that was done differently. And that's okay to do.
Before or after the defendant asked you to search about hypothermia?
I'd be guessing if I then don't.
Don't guess.
Mm-hmm.
When the defendant was speaking to the first responder, the woman, were you near?
Yes.
Did you hear or do you remember the defendant saying anything to the first responder?
Yes.
What did she say?
She told the first responder, I hit him, I hit him, I hit him.
When she told the first responder, I hit him, how did you react?
I was startled, kind of like, what are you saying? What are you talking about?
Did you say?
I think we're all guessing at this point because this is an active trial. There's nothing wrong with guessing or how someone state how they feel.
Anything to the defendant?
I think after the second or third time she was
Correctly
saying it, I was
said.
like, Karen, what are you saying?
Why were you trying to interrupt her?
Because I thought she was just talking crazy, and I'm saying, why is she saying she hit him?
Were you trying to look out for her?
Yeah.
I'll strike it and ask it differently.
What was your motivation for trying to?
Yeah, guys, a lot of times in here we talk to the witnesses even though they can't see us. So I get spring showers was speaking to Jen, not you, Jen, but that Jen. We do that a lot in here.
Interrupt the defendant making the statements to the first responder?
Karen was hysterical, irrational, kind of.
I'll move on.
Okay, I'm gonna see counsel at sidebar.
Sidebar. First sidebar of the day. Let's take count, shall we? Thank you for the follow, JC. Yes, but he still admitted on the stand to deleting the time that is in the report of 2 something in the morning. That's why some of us are feeling the way we're feeling. I can only speak for myself, honestly. There's many reasons why I'm feeling the way I'm feeling. And to be honest, when this case started, I knew nothing about it other than it was about her unaliving her boyfriend. And I thought she was guilty. And I didn't know anything about it. And I thought she was guilty. I don't usually try to do that, but that's where I was. We already had 3 people perjure themselves, too.
Yeah. After you made this,
In the Cellbrite, it was removed. But in the other company that did it still showed that earlier time, yes. So far, I'm on that too, Melissa. It's the prosecutor's job to prove beyond a reasonable doubt, and I do not see how they have not in my book. And like I said, this is new to me to be in this kind of situation with the case. I don't think I've ever been in a situation where I thought somebody was actually innocent. This is new for me. You're welcome.
the defendant's request for an inquiry regarding hypothermia. Did
I
you
know,
have a
Jen,
chance
I
to
know.
Speak to the officers further.
Yes.
Did they ask you to do anything or go anywhere?
This is from yesterday.
Yes. Officer Lang asked me to go into my sister's house and to wake them up.
And your sister's name again?
My sister, Nicole.
And
Nicole must be a heavy sleeper.
that is the house you were in the night before?
Yes.
And after you spoke to the officer, they requested you go in to speak to your sister, did you?
Yes.
Was there any directive on what you should speak to your sister about?
Hey,
No.
Mila, I did not raise a bully. You do not hiss at your brother. Sorry, guys.
After the officers asked you to go into the house, did you?
Yes, I did.
Do you remember what door you went through?
Yes, I went through
You
the front
behave.
door.
Was the door locked?
Yes.
How did you get in?
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you said, was it unlocked?
No, I asked if it was locked.
Oh, sorry. It was unlocked.
As you're approaching the house, were there any lights on?
No.
Was it dark?
Yes.
Any sign of any movement inside the house before you went in?
No.
Take us
Okay.
through walking through the front door. What happens?
So I went in the front door. I opened the door. I
watch their body language, and a lot of it for me is the psychology of it.
walked up the stairs.
I'm just
into their
a juror, a virtual
hallway,
juror.
and then I think I knocked on their door.
Bedroom door?
Their bedroom door. And then I opened the door. I went in and I walked over to the bed and I was like, Brian, Nicole. Because I was like, I was in a position where I felt like the world was going on around me, so much was happening, but I also was aware that I was just about to wake up two people that are sound asleep, and they're gonna see me standing over their bed and be startled, wondering, what am I doing here?
So what happened?
So I took a minute or two, and then Brian woke up, and he immediately was like startled and was like, Jennifer, what's going on? What are you doing? And then I believe I tried the best I could to say what was going on. I think I said, we found John.
You don't need to describe
Okay.
again, but I want to know their reaction and your interaction with your sister and Brian Albert.
They woke up startled and confused.
Did you have a conversation with them?
Yes.
How long was that conversation?
Brief. They got up, got dressed. I spoke to them.
And where did you go and where did they go?
Then all three of us went down the stairs.
The upstairs to the downstairs?
Upstairs to downstairs,
The
yes.
upstairs is the second level, is downstairs the first level?
Yes.
As you come down the stairs, can you see the front door?
Yes.
Is there anybody in the house at that point?
I saw Officer Lang.
In the house?
Yes.
Do you know if he had been invited in?
I have no idea.
When you came down the stairs and saw Officer Lang, where was your sister and Brian Albert?
They were walking with me down the stairs.
Did you see whether or not the officer spoke with your sister and your brother?
He did.
Brother-in-law? I'm
He
sorry.
did. He did, yes.
Were you there during that conversation?
No,
How long was that conversation, do you know?
not sure.
Where did you go when the officer was speaking to your sister and your brother-in-law inside their home?
I was standing at the front.
Her sister lived in the house where John was found outside in the snow.
Doorway, and then my husband Matt had just
That was her
arrived.
house.
What happened next?
She wasn't out. She's an
I
Albert.
started talking to Matt, and almost immediately Officer Lang came, got Matt, and asked if he could talk to him outside.
At this point, I want to go back and show you some video. Have you seen video in this case before?
Yes.
I'd like to ask the court's permission to display Exhibit 4, and I'd like to walk through some of the video.
Okay.
Ms. Gilman, if you kindly put on Exhibit 4.
Maybe she had a key.
I'd like to start at 6:09:57.
We're going through this again. Okay.
Our third coming. He's probably gonna try to play with it, whatever you dropped.
I dropped a cap for my Medicube eye stuff.
It looks like cashews.
Hmm?
I said that looks like
Not
cashews.
that. I don't know where it went. Maybe she had a key, you guys. It was her sister's house. I don't know if she said it. I could have totally missed it because my attention was divided. I'm sorry.
Ms. Gilman, if you can take us to the arrival of Fairview.
It's transparent. That's why.
Yeah, I gotta figure it.
Sorry, I dropped something. Just one moment.
A lot of things tend to be falling.
Mm-hmm.
What size is it?
Like this. That's it. Thank you.
Can you stop there, please? Ms. McCabe, do you recognize this scene?
Yes.
Is that morning?
Yes.
The car directly in front of this dash cam, do you know whose vehicle that is?
Kerry Roberts.
On the left, we see somebody with a blue parka or jacket. Do you know who that is?
I believe that's me.
Can you continue to play, please?
Keep in mind, we don't know why they left it unlocked. Maybe they'll be called as witnesses. We never know. I keep an open mind until it closes.
I would too, because a lot of things just
Hi,
seem fishy.
Mama. Hi, baby. I have the volume all the way up, guys. It's at 100.
Question is why do you
Can you stop there, please? Does that fairly depict your first interaction with law enforcement?
Yes.
Do you see the flagpole in that video?
Where are all the police
Yes.
video cams?
And is
This
that
is
the
a
area
dash
where
cam.
you found John?
Yeah, but
Yes.
theirs.
I'd like to move forward in the video if we can move forward to 6:14:45, please.
Keep in mind, it was her sisters, though. How did you get up there?
We don't.
Did you stop there? Can you identify people on that video from right to left, if you can?
I don't know the officer. That's myself. I believe behind me, that's Miss Reed.
And this is about, let me get the time correctly. 6:14:47.
Baby,
And do you know where John is at this point?
come here. Did he go potty?
Yes.
Are they
he
lifting
went-
him to the left?
Can you continue, please, Ms. Gilman?
I don't have a key to my sister's house, but I know the garage code.
Did you stop
Though I
there?
wouldn't just walk into their bedroom.
Person
but-
all the way to the left near the
No,
flagpole.
no, no, no. Can't
You know
lick
who that
that.
is?
You can't lick the
I
baby.
believe Carrie Roberts.
And is that the area where John was found?
Yes.
And that's at 6:15 a.m.? If you don't know, that's
Why
okay.
are you sitting so high on
Do you
me?
know what Ms. Roberts was doing at 6:15 a.m.?
My guess is
I don't
that
want you to guess. Just if you
I don't know.
Okay. Now, you're over to the right. Is that you?
Yes.
Continue, please.
Which person? There's 4 people to the right. Okay, now her.
Is that Carrie on the left?
Yes.
It's okay, honey.
Stop, please. On the right, do you see yourself?
Yes.
And which person are you?
I'm the one next to the one with the fluorescent yellow.
Is your back to us?
Yes.
To the right in yellow. Do you know who that is?
I don't.
Continue, please. Continue.
Oh.
No, he's up here, baby.
Stop, please. Do you see the defendant move from the right to the left?
Yes.
Do you see the yellow jacket?
Yes.
Do you know whether or not that's the woman first responder?
I believe so, yes.
Do you know why the
Thank you,
officer
Audra.
moved the defendant over to from right to left?
I don't.
Okay, continue, please. Stop. At that part, is there a conversation between the defendant and the first responder?
Yes.
Are you listening?
Yes.
Continue. Stop. Do you see the officer that was with you in that group?
Yes.
Do you see him now turned away from the group speaking to somebody else?
I do.
Continue, please.
You're really invested in this, huh, Binks?
Thank you. If you could move ahead to 6:19, please. Is that you, Ms. McCabe and Ms. Roberts?
Yes.
Does anyone feel like this version is a lot more clear than the version we saw on day one. It's a lot brighter. How are you, Jamie?
Is that Miss Roberts?
Yes.
Stop for a moment.
Where?
Do you know at which point you went to the officer's car and sat in the back with Miss Reed?
I believe it's right after this.
Can you continue, please?
Good. But we don't pick up any barking. That's weird. Maybe they're too far away.
Is that Miss Roberts?
Yes.
Stop, please. Was it before or after that moment that you sat with the defendant and Miss Roberts stood outside the car and you prayed?
I'm not exactly sure from that video.
If we could move forward to 6:23:40, please.
I'm questioning again why we don't hear the dog.
At this time, are you still with the defendant behind this car in some spot?
Yes, I am.
Or neighbor's dog, that's right.
Is it during this time, 6:23 and 6:24, you tried to make those searches at the defendant's request?
Yes.
Ms. Gilman, if you could move forward to 6:20, 6:15.
I wish they would turn up the sound. But it didn't though, right?
Yes, please. Ms. McCabe, do you see anybody returning to Ms. Roberts' car in that area?
Yes.
And who did you see?
I saw myself and I'm standing outside of the car speaking to Officer Lang. I saw Carrie go up and near her car. I'm not sure if she went into it. And I saw someone walk Miss Reed into the car.
Guys, keep in mind that not long after this, that dog was given away.
that around this time you have a conversation with Mr. Lang?
No idea
Yes.
why.
And what does he tell you again around this time?
Hi, Jenny.
He's at this point,
How
I
are
think,
you?
asking me questions about what had happened. And then soon after, he asks me to go into my sister's house.
Ms. Gilman, if you can fast forward to 6:34:15, please.
Did they say why, Jen? See, we don't know because we're not researching this. We're doing this as honest as a jury can, virtually, anyways. You can watch it live on YouTube. I'm doing all right, thank you. Thank you for telling me that, Jen.
Stop, please. You described that the house had no lights on. Is that a fair depiction of,
Yes.
of the view?
Yes.
Do you see a figure walking up the driveway?
Not on this pause clip, but I did see it, yes.
Let's play it and see if you can identify it.
Yes, I can see
Oh,
myself
damn.
walking up.
Where are you now?
I'm walking up the path to go up to the stairs into the house.
And this is at the request of Officer Lang?
Yes,
And you described first you went in and woke up your sister and brother-in-law?
yes.
Could we move forward to 6:39, please? Stop. And do you see something happen with the house at that point?
Yes.
And what happens?
Light went on.
I'll note it's 6:39:08. Thank you, Ms. Gill. After first responders took John and you had gone in your sister's house, what did you do next?
Next, after Officer Lang spoke to my husband, Kerry Roberts, her and I had a conversation. She was going to go pick up John's parents in Braintree. At first, I had told her I would go with her, but then Officer Lang said that one of us had to stay at Fairview to speak to the, I believe it was the state troopers that would be coming.
Did you stay at Fairview?
I did, yes.
What was your mental state at that point?
Again, I was in shock. The best way I can describe it is the feeling of I'm present and everything's going on around me, and I'm just trying to process and make sense of everything.
Did you speak to your sister about what happened?
Yes,
Did you speak to your brother-in-law about what happened?
yes,
And were they giving you any comfort or support?
yes. They were being very comforting and supportive.
As you were waiting at Fairview, did anybody else come to the house?
When my husband Matt had arrived. A little while later, Julie Albert had arrived. She was dropping something off, and then Brian Sr. called her in.
Is Julie Albert the wife of Chris Albert?
Yes, she is.
And Brian Albert and Chris Albert are brothers?
Correct.
When she arrived, did you talk to her?
Yes.
Were you in a group? Were you talking to people privately?
No, we were all sitting around the kitchen table.
And why were you talking to everybody?
We were trying to figure out what had happened. They were trying to be supportive, trying to help me.
What was your mood?
I was extremely concerned. I was calling Kerry, trying to get updates about John. I was worried about John, his family, about Kaylee.
At that point, did you know whether John was going to live?
I had a very strong, I think deep down I knew that John was gone. But you know, until you hear it, I think there was that little bit of hope maybe.
Did you speak to anybody but Kerry, who was not at the home that morning?
I believe I spoke, yeah, Miss Reed.
You had a conversation?
Yes, I spoke to her when she was in the ambulance.
Did you speak to her again later that day?
No, I think I texted her asking her for Carrie's number because I didn't have it.
Did you hear back?
No,
Did you ever speak to Miss Reed again?
no, I've never spoken to her again.
When you were trying to get information from Kerry and you were in Fairview, did anybody else other than the people you described arrive in Fairview?
Chris Albert, Brian Higgins showed up and Chris Albert.
Did you know Brian Higgins?
I knew him as a friend of Brian's.
Did you see him at the waterfall that night before?
Yes, I did.
And after you arrived at Fairview that night, after leaving the waterfall, was Brian Higgins one of the people there?
Yes.
And did you talk about what had happened in front of Brian Higgins as well?
Yes.
Was there a group discussion?
I wouldn't say discussion. I would just say, like, for instance, someone would ask me a question because everybody this didn't make sense to anybody. No one knew what had happened.
Agreed. And so was there a lot of question about what you saw and heard?
Yes.
You mentioned earlier that you felt like you were in a state of shock. Did you feel like you were still in that state, or were things changing mentally?
Little by little, as I sat there, I started things started coming back to me that had been said to me earlier.
Did something significant come back to you about what happened earlier or what you heard?
Yeah.
If you have, please don't give details, guys. We're doing this as the virtual jury. No spoilers, please.
What is that?
When Miss Reed stated to myself and the female, I hit him.
And did anything else over the course of that morning come back to you about that moment?
Throughout when I was still at Fairview or throughout the day?
Still at Fairview.
I believe that was maybe the main thing. I can't be sure what memories came back.
When you remembered the defendant's statements to the first responder, did you decide to do something with that information?
Yes, Officer Lang had said if I, remembered anything or needed anything before the state, the state police came to give him a call.
Did you?
I did, yes.
And you knew Officer Lang?
I did, yes.
Were you comfortable calling him?
Yes, I was.
Did you tell him the information that you had remembered?
I just asked him to come back to Fairview.
Did he?
He did, yes.
When he came back, did you speak to him?
Yes, I did.
Were you with the group or were you alone?
No, it was with the group.
And did you tell him you had remembered?
I did, yes.
How long did you stay at Fairview for?
To look for
I
him?
believe somewhere between 11:30. I'm being approximate with my times. Officer Proctor called me from the state police.
Do you know how he got your number?
No.
Did you have a discussion with him?
He said he would like to come by and question me, and I'm not sure if he said at your house or if I said I need to go home because I had 4 kids at home that were still sleeping, and I knew that I had to go home to them and eventually break this news to them and comfort them, and I knew that was going to be a whole nother situation to deal with.
Did you speak to him on the phone before you went home or after?
A quick phone call, I'll see you at my house.
At that point, did you share any information with him?
No, not on the phone.
Did you return home?
I did, yes.
Remember about what time that was?
I'm going to say 11:30 or after, approximate.
General?
General, yeah.
When you got back home, did you have a meeting or speak with Mr. Proctor?
I did, yes.
Was it a phone call or an in-person conversation?
He came into my house with Officer Buchanan.
Okay. Him and Trooper Buchanan came in?
Yes.
Was there anybody else at your home?
My husband was home, and my brother-in-law, Brian Albert, came over.
Did you speak to them?
Yes.
Did you tell them any additional information at that point?
The troopers or?
The troopers.
Yes. I know I had said what Karen had said to me, and then she had said I hit him. Could I have hit him? I told them how she showed up at my house. I just basically gave them the events of that morning.
At that point, did you mention anything about the defendant's broken taillight?
At that conversation, no.
Did they leave?
They did leave, yes.
At some point, did they reach out to you again, or did you reach out to them?
At some point, I had another conversation with them a few hours later. I'm not sure if they called me or if I called them.
Do you know what generally the content of that conversation was?
Yes, I had remembered that Karen had told me about her taillight.
As you're processing that morning, are you trying to think and recreate the event, or are you trying to put it out of your mind?
I couldn't get it out of my mind.
While you were at home, did you receive any updates from anybody, Carrie Roberts or anybody, about John?
Yes, when I was still at the Alberts, Carrie had given me word that, John had passed. Then once I got home, I know different friends who were starting to hear.
Without saying that, without content, were you receiving contacts, calls, text messages from other people?
Yes.
And were you reaching back out to other people?
Some, yes.
At some point, did you go over to Meadows Road?
On Sunday, I did, yes.
Was Sunday the next day?
Yes, it was.
Why did you go over to Meadows?
Carrie and I went over with my daughter and her daughter to see the family and to offer support and sympathy.
You said you and Carrie. How did you get there?
Carrie picked me up.
Wait, I thought her and Carrie didn't know each other well and she didn't hang out with Carrie. Or am I... Yeah, it was Carrie.
Prior to that evening, you and Carrie, you described, weren't friends or familiar?
Correct.
Were things changing?
Yes, rapidly.
When she picked you up, who else did she pick up with you?
My daughter, who was Kaylee's friend.
And was anybody else, or any of Miss Roberts' family in the car?
Yes, her daughter was in the car as well.
So it was you, Miss Roberts, and your two daughters?
Yes.
You said you went to Meadows.
Yes.
Why did you go there?
To offer our condolences, sympathy, support, to be with the family. I love them.
Were they staying at Meadows?
They were at Meadows, yes.
When you went there that next day, can you describe the traffic and the people that were there?
There was a house full.
Yeah, Jill.
Of family, friends, coworkers, loved ones. The car repairman, like anyone and everyone.
That's where I'm leaning to, Lester. The question is, how deep does it go and how high?
Did you ever see the defendant?
No.
While you're at the house, did you have a chance to speak to Miss O'Keefe?
Yes, I did.
At some point that day, did you leave the house?
Yes.
Who did you leave with?
Carrie and my daughter stayed to be with Haley, and we left with her daughter.
Where did you go?
We were heading home, but then we ended up dropping off her daughter at her friend's house.
Now, who's her daughter? Don't give me a name. Carrie's daughter?
Carrie's daughter, yes.
And was Carrie's daughter friends with any of the Lanks?
Yes, Carrie's daughter's good friends with Mike Lank's daughter.
When Miss Roberts drove over to Mr. and Mrs. Lank's house, did you meet anybody?
Yes, her daughter, Carrie's daughter, went in the house, and Mrs. Lank came out. Her and Carrie are very good friends, so she came out to offer support and condolences.
Was it still cold outside?
Yes, it was freezing.
When she was offering her support, was she inside or outside of the car?
She jumped into the back seat.
During that time you spent with Officer Lank's wife, did you ever go into the house?
I have a faint memory. I think I went in and used the bathroom at one point.
When you were having a conversation with Mr. Lank's wife, were you talking about what had happened?
Yes, Carrie was just explaining the morning, the phone calls, the scene, things like that.
Were you trying to get any type of inside information or push the investigation in any particular direction?
No, I didn't speak much. It was mostly Carrie and Trish was just being a supportive friend, Carrie.
At some point, did you get together with Miss Roberts and try to memorialize what you had saw or thought that morning?
Yes.
Why did you do that?
Peg had asked Carrie to do a timeline, so Carrie came over and we were sitting down talking about it. And so my sister was there and she said that she would jot it down for us.
So when you got together, it was at the request of Mrs. O'Keefe?
Yes.
When she made that request, did you ask her to do that? Did you question why?
No, she wanted us to do it, so I did it.
Why?
She wanted us to remember and try to jot down everything we remembered so we wouldn't forget.
That's suspicious.
Did you speak to officers further in the future?
Yes.
Can you count how many times you spoke with police at the interviews you had?
No.
There were a lot, or a good amount, I should say.
At some point, did any of the police officers ask if they could take your phone
Molly.
and copy everything on it?
Yes.
Did you have any hesitation about that? Were you cooperative?
Yes.
Why?
I wanted to help in any way I could.
Approach?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Sidebar again. Thank you for the follow, Molly. I know, Dee. I know.
Handed you a piece of paper. Do you recognize that?
Yes, I do.
And what is it?
That's my signature.
You know what that document is?
Yes, it's the consent form that I signed for my phone.
I think you use this as an exhibit.
Yes, Your Honor, we'll do this sidebar. I have no objections to the identification of it.
Okay, I'll see you tomorrow.
You're very welcome. Get some gardening in for me too, will ya? I have a lot that I've not done any. Sidebar again. But why don't they want us to see? I have that on my YouTube. Yeah, sure is. And Arca is going to be allowed to testify. She ruled on that yesterday. Michelle's Criminal Musings, the same name as here. The link's in my bio if you have trouble finding it. You're welcome.
After that day when you met with Miss Roberts, and you try to memorialize your memory about what happened, after that date, have you discussed what happened that morning with other people?
Yes.
And have you discussed it with police over time?
Yeah.
Megan, we can't because we're doing this as if we're the virtual jury. We take that role very seriously. So no idea whatsoever. We're coming into this without research.
Yes.
I don't think she did either.
I have no further questions at this time.
At this time? Does that mean you mean to recall her? You're welcome. I've got cat hair that's stuck to my face that keeps making my nose itch. Come on, Mr. Jackson, you got this.
Good morning, Ms. McCabe.
Good morning.
When was the last time you spoke with Carrie Roberts before your testimony today?
She called me last night.
What did y'all discuss?
She asked if my daughters were going to be staying home from school today because her daughter would possibly join them.
Did you discuss anything having to do with your testimony?
Not my testimony, no.
Did you discuss anything in that conversation with her prior testimony?
No.
Are you aware that she testified last week?
Yes.
Did you discuss anything after that, after she testified with her about her testimony?
No.
We know that through her testimony that you had a conversation with her the morning that she testified.
Yes.
Right? Did you discuss what you anticipated to be her testimony in that conversation before she testified?
No.
Have you and Ms. Roberts ever discussed anything about either one of your testimonies, either in the last proceeding or in anticipation of this proceeding?
No.
So for the entirety of the last year, even though you both went through a proceeding last year where you both testified under oath and it was highly, highly publicized, neither one of you, your good friend Carrie Roberts and you, have ever discussed either of your testimonies between that time and this time.
No, we've discussed the case and we've discussed what happened that moment, the moments of the morning, but we have not discussed testimony.
Okay, so let's break that down for a second. I'm talking about because
Thank you for remembering the IMO. Guys, when you're stating things as if someone could take them as fact, please put IMO or in my opinion after. Thank you so much, Jill.
the timing matters. I'm just asking at this point, if you'll bear with me, just the year from last year at a different proceeding to this year, you have discussed this case.
Yes.
With Ms. Roberts.
Many times, yes.
And discussed the specifics of her memory, which would be reflected in her testimony, correct?
We talked about what happened that morning.
So you were talking about what she remembers happening that morning, correct?
No, what happened that morning.
Okay, so not to put too fine a point on it, Ms. McCabe, but if you asked me what I had for dinner last night, it's my memory of what I had for dinner last night. Would you agree with that?
Sustained.
Did you talk about her perception of what happened that morning during the last year?
We've talked about what has happened, yes.
Okay, so I'm trying to break it down between you and Ms. Roberts. You've discussed her perceptions and her memory of what happened, as well as, and separate apart from, your memory.
Thank you for the in my opinion.
Correct.
So there have been circumstances in which you and Ms. Roberts have compared, by definition, what she remembers versus what you remember, correct?
I wouldn't say compare.
Now let's move to what would you say in terms of what you've discussed? and
Right,
why?
Jay?
I would say that we've both talked about what we've discussed, but it wasn't like
Thank you for the
a
follow,
comparison.
Janine.
We weren't comparing anything.
You've talked about what you discussed. What does that mean? Talked about your testimony?
No, we've discussed what happened that moment,
Right.
and in those moments. So, when I got a phone call, and that's my story. I got a phone call in the morning, and
That's
then
my
Carrie can
story?
say, yeah, I got a phone call as well.
As you said, that's your story,
Not
correct?
my story.
That's
It's
what
the truth.
that's what you just said, ma'am.
Okay. So for instance, when you got a phone call at 4:53 in the morning, Carrie Roberts wasn't there, correct?
Correct.
But you've discussed that with her.
Correct.
And you've told her what your perception of that, your memory of that phone call was, even though she was not recipient to and did not witness that phone call, correct?
I've told her about the phone call, correct.
As well as many other details that she was not privy to personally, correct?
Correct.
Conversations that you've had, for instance, conversations that you claim you've had with Ms. Reed, correct?
Correct.
And you've told her what your perception is of those conversations, or your memory was, or is, of those conversations with Ms. Reed, correct?
Which conversations with Ms.
Any
Reed?
conversations, just anything that she wasn't privy to. You discussed that with her.
Some things, yes.
Okay.
Absolutely.
And conversely, Ms. McCabe, obviously, she's also discussed certain perceptions and memories that she has of this case, the facts of this case that she recalls them, that you were not necessarily privy to, correct?
Yes.
Things that may have taken place outside your presence, correct?
Correct.
And you've talked about things, I'm sorry, she's talked to you about things, now I'm getting myself confused. Y'all have talked about things that were outside of her perception and outside of your perception. And you've shared those with each other.
We've shared our experiences. We've become very close. We both lived through a traumatic experience.
How many times would you say you and Ms. Roberts have discussed your individual perceptions of what you remember happening on the 28th or the 29th of January 2022? How many times?
It would be hard to put a number on that. We talk about, it's hard. We're bonded. We talk about the trauma that we relive every day. Karen called us for help and we both answered the phone.
And that bonding is the glue that holds you two together. Is this case, correct?
Yes.
So that probably, by definition, is the foundation of many, many of your conversations. Agree?
We've grown into friends where we talk about many other things besides the case.
Sure, the movie you saw last weekend and what the kids are doing next week.
Yes, and yes, absolutely. We talk many different things, just like girlfriends do.
I'm just concerned with and asking you about the subject matter of this case and the details and the facts of this case. You two have probably talked hundreds of times, that's fair to say, about your individual perceptions, your respective perceptions of this case, correct?
This happened 3 years ago, and we've talked about it time and time again. This case is traumatized us, so
And
it's a
talking
huge part
about-
of our lives.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Oh, it's fine. I believe I meant traumatized our lives.
Okay. It would be impossible for you two to have had so many conversations about your respective perceptions of the details of that day.
The reason she looks right into the camera, it's actually not right into the camera. She's looking at the jury. When you're being asked questions, you're giving the answers to the jury. That's where she's looking. So I know it looks like she's looking at us, but she's looking at the jury to give them her full attention.
Without that influencing the other person, correct? You've somehow been influenced by Miss Roberts's perceptions and her memories, correct?
I don't think I would say influenced.
Would you say that she's been influenced by your perceptions and your memories?
Objection. Would you say that, Ms. McCabe?
No, I wouldn't.
Next question.
How many times have you met with anybody from the DA's office? And I'm just going to limit the time frame right now in anticipation of your appearance in this trial yesterday, today.
I'd say roughly 4 or 5.
Can you give me a time frame when those 4 or 5 meetings were?
I don't have dates. I do remember at one point I met with Mr. Brennan. He was new to the case. So I went in and he introduced himself.
How long ago was that? Weeks or months?
I can't give you a time frame. I'm sorry.
Do you think it was last summer?
No.
Thank you for the follow.
No, it was more recent.
Okay.
Yeah,
It
sorry.
wasn't in the fall of last year?
No.
It was in 2025 sometime?
I believe so, yes.
You think it might have been February, January?
Again, I can't give you an exact. I'm sorry.
All right. I want to talk about the time frames of those conversations, then I'll ask you a little bit more about those conversations. So that was the first meeting that you had was with Mr. Brennan in anticipation of your testimony. What were the subsequent 4 meetings or so that you had?
I know.
With whom at approximately what time?
Okay, so another meeting with Mr. Brennan. Are you looking for who was
Sure.
there?
Who else was there?
I mean, can I give you a general answer? I didn't write down like every meeting who was there.
Of course.
That's what
general.
Aaron just said, Lucid. The same thing.
During 1 or 2 of the meetings he was. Yes.
Was Ms. McLaughlin there?
Yes.
Was there anybody else from the DA's office there?
The officer, a trooper, Tully was there at one. Trooper Buchanan was there at one. The witness advocates were there. And again, give or take the particular meeting.
Those are 2 meetings that you've talked about with Mr. Brennan and others. What about the 3rd meeting?
No, I'm sorry. I was lumping a few of them together.
Sure, understood.
I apologize.
How many meetings would you have? Let's just start there. How many meetings have you had with Mr. Brennan and either staff or colleagues?
So after the first initial meeting,
Right.
I would say, again, I didn't write them down. Off the top of my head, I can think of 2 or 3 more after that.
Okay.
Excuse me, first initial one.
So that's either 4 or 5 meetings with Mr. Brennan and some combination of his colleagues, Mr. Lally, Ms. McLaughlin perhaps, Mr. Nelson perhaps, the other employee of the DA's office, and Troopers Buchanan and Trooper Tully.
Correct.
You asked questions about at any of these meetings. I'm just going to lump them all together. Any of these 5 meetings. By the way, when was most recent?
No, we start late. That way, when it comes to lunch, we could fast forward through the lunch break.
Last night, I had a Zoom call in regards, I think the court asked them to.
Yes, I'm going to stop you right there.
Oh, okay.
I'm going to ask a different question, and if you don't mind, I'm just going to lead you through this question.
Okay.
You had a conversation last night. I'm not interested in that particular conversation. That was for a very specific purpose. I'm asking you about everything leading up to, but not including last night's conversation, okay?
Okay.
So let's just leave that one out. You've had, I think you mentioned either 4 or 5 other meetings with Mr. Brennan and some combination of his colleagues.
It's
and
on
your law
YouTube.
Yeah, and I might have, in the 5, included that one from last night.
Okay, fair enough. Were you asked questions in those, we're just going to call it 4 meetings. Were you asked questions during those 4 meetings about your testimony at the first proceeding last year?
I reviewed I did review some of my testimony, yes.
In what format?
I watched.
Paper transcript or?
No, we just watched a little bit of it.
Did you watch your direct examination?
A little bit, yes.
Did you watch your cross-examination?
A little, yes.
Who cross-examined you?
You did.
That was me.
Yes.
And did you watch the redirect or any part of it?
No.
Did you watch any part of the subsequent version of recross or additional questions that you were asked?
I don't believe so, no.
Was there a specific area that Mr. Brennan asked you to look at and review in terms of your direct or your cross-examination?
No.
Did you watch the entirety of the direct examination and the entirety of the cross-examination?
I do not believe so, no.
Were you questioned by Mr. Brennan following your review of that direct and cross-examination?
No.
So he didn't ask you any questions about any of your answers?
I don't believe, he showed me a dash cam and would ask me to point out who's this, who's that, a waterfall video, is this you, is this somebody? Those were the type of questions that he asked me.
What about any discussion about your demeanor and how you performed in the last proceeding? Objection. I'll ask it a different way. What about your demeanor? I'm using probably a poor word, perform, how you came across, your demeanor
I'm unaware, Kate, because we start late so we could skip all the breaks.
in the last proceeding. Objection. Did you discuss changing your demeanor in any way, shape, form, or fashion from the last trial to, the last proceeding to this trial, my mistake. The last proceeding to this trial, was your demeanor ever discussed?
No, I was just told to slow down, answer the question, and, answer it to the best of my memory.
Was there any discussion about talking about your background, for instance, your family and your children and being a sports mom, as you talked about in your direct examination?
No, I believe I did that in the previous one as well.
Was there any discussion about crafting your testimony in any way to suggest a softer approach?
No.
Was there any discussion about how to develop your testimony from beginning to end? Okay.
Sustained.
Did Mr. Brennan ask you about, or let me ask it a different way, did Mr. Brennan take you through a series of questions, for instance, as almost a test run of questions that you might be asked either on direct examination or cross-examination?
No.
Did you practice your testimony with any member of the DA's office?
No.
Were there any sessions where you sat and was subjected to a cross-examination, like a fake cross-examination or a fake direct examination?
No, there
Anything
wasn't.
like that?
No.
What were the things that stand out in your mind? You said you had at least 4 meetings. How long was each meeting, by the way, ish?
The first meeting, I think, was fairly quick. It was just the introduction.
30 minutes, less than 30 minutes?
I don't want to give a time because I'm not sure.
Okay.
But it was fairly quick, yes.
Okay. What about the second meeting?
Again, I don't know specific meetings, but I can tell you that there was a longer one where I did watch some dash cam video, look at different pictures, things like that.
What kind of pictures did you look at?
We're behind. We start late so that way we could skip all the breaks that they have.
Other than the dash cam video?
The pictures of John's house.
Okay, the same photos that we saw today?
Yes.
How long in total would you say all of those meetings were? Just taking them all together?
I really can't give you an estimate. I think the first one was fairly quick. The second one, one of them was a little bit longer, maybe a couple hours.
Okay. Then the third one, was that also a couple hours, or was that one fairly quick?
That was fairly quick, yes.
So fair to say between 2, 3, 4 hours total meeting times?
Again, I'd have to probably go back and look
Thank
at
you,
the
Sue.
date and the time.
Thank
I
you for
really
the call, Megan.
can't give you a specific amount of time. I apologize.
Did Trooper Tully or Trooper Buchanan ask you any questions during the course of any of these meetings?
Regarding the case, no, but we did briefly talk about how my kids were, how their kids were.
But they didn't ask you any questions about your testimony, about your about the case, about your memories, about specific facts?
I do not believe so, no.
During any of these meetings, was anybody taking notes? Mr. McLaughlin, Mr. Lally, Mr. Brennan, any of the troopers?
No, I don't believe so.
So there was several hours worth of meetings with you, and nobody scribed any notes that you saw?
What about audio
None that I
recording?
saw, no.
And these meetings were not recorded?
I do not believe so, no.
Ms. McCabe, I'm going to ask you a series of questions about your family because I just want to make sure it's crystal clear who's who. You're married to Matt McCabe, correct?
Yes.
Your sister is Nicole Albert.
Yes.
Nicole is married to Brian Albert.
Yes.
It was Brian Albert's home that you were at 34 Fairview that you arrived at where John's body was found,
Verby,
correct?
yes.
Yes.
The same home where that late night gathering was on January 28th going into the morning of the 29th, correct?
Yes.
Would you consider yourself to be close with your sister Nicole and Brian?
Yes, very close.
Your families are, it's not just you and Nicole, your whole families are close, correct?
Yes, we have a very close family.
How long have you known Brian Albert?
Since I was in kindergarten.
You consider him, even though he is not blood related to you, you consider him family?
Yes.
In addition to Brian and Nicole Albert, you're also very close with Chris and Julie Albert, correct?
Yes.
Just to be clear, and I'm going to do this slowly,
Okay.
Brian Albert's younger
agree.
brother is Chris Albert, correct?
Yes.
Chris Albert is married to Julie Albert.
Yes.
You consider Chris and Julie family, even though there may not be a blood relation as well, correct?
Yes.
Chris Albert is a Canton Select Board member, is that right?
Now he is, yes.
And the Canton, that's in Canton? I said Select Board member, did I mention Canton Select Board member?
It is in Canton,
Okay.
yes.
All right, obviously it's in Canton. The Canton Police Department reports to the Select Board, correct?
I'm not aware.
You're not aware of that echelon?
No.
Okay. You're aware that Brian Albert, your friend of, I'm not going to say how many years, but since kindergarten, was a Boston police officer.
Yes.
He had been a lifetime law enforcement officer for some 30 years before he retired recently, correct?
Yes.
He's a trained first responder, obviously.
Yes.
I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Brian Albert and Chris Albert have another brother named Kevin Albert, correct?
Yes.
Kevin Albert is a detective with a police department, correct?
Yes, I believe that's his title. I'm not
Which
100%.
Which police department is Kevin Albert associated with?
Canton.
And you've grown up in Canton your whole life, you indicated.
Yes.
Your entire family has grown up in Canton, correct?
Yes.
And you, Ms. McCabe, have three sisters. Nicole, we've talked about. You also have a sister named Shelley, is that right?
Michelle, yes.
Michelle?
Mhm.
And Denise, who you mentioned in your direct examination.
Yes.
Wait, I didn't know you knew this person.
Nicole is also known by a nickname, is that right?
Yeah. Yes.
What is Nicole's nickname within the family?
Coco.
Where's my pen?
Does Shelley also have a nickname? Well, I guess Shelley is the
Yeah,
shortened
Shelley
name
is.
for Michelle, correct?
Yes.
What about Denise?
She's Dee Dee.
Dee Dee?
Yeah, like Deedee.
With this. It's my eyebrow pencil.
Your father lives close by in a neighboring town, correct?
Yes.
Don't tell me the town, but it's relatively close to Canton.
20 minutes, yes.
Okay.
I
His name is
found it.
Tom Weeks.
Yes.
Thank you.
There are, I'm not going to go through all of them right now because the family tree is getting large, but there are children, cousins, second cousins, nephews, aunts, uncles. There's a combination of familial relations within that set of folks that I just talked about, Chris and Brian and Nicole and you and Matt and the folks that we've just talked about.
Yes.
That family, that large family, celebrates holidays together, I'm guessing?
We don't typically, celebrate with Kevin and Chris, but my family does, yes.
Along with Brian, Albert, and Cole?
Yes, of course.
Birthdays are celebrated within that family?
Yes.
Go on vacations together, I'm guessing?
Yes.
Gatherings like the one on the 28th?
Yes.
Special events?
Yes.
Spend weekends together?
Yes.
You mentioned a lot of sporting events. There's a lot of sporting events that y'all go to together.
Yes.
So it is very, very easy to see that it's an extremely close-knit family.
Yes.
And naturally, you're very protective of your family, as anybody would be.
Yes, I love my family.
You also said that you knew, and your words, liked Karen Reed, my client, on the 28th of January 2022, correct?
Yes.
But she very much is not family, correct?
Correct.
She certainly was not as important to you as your actual family, the Alberts, the McCays, the folks associated with them. Is that right?
Yes.
On January 28th, 2022, members of the Albert family and the McCabe family all went to a bar together, had drinks together that night. Waterfall, we've heard a little bit about that, correct?
Correct.
Ultimately, you went back to your sister's house for the after party that we've heard so much about. That was at Brian Albert's house, is that right?
Yes.
You've been interviewed, I think you indicated multiple times, you didn't even give a number of how many times you've been interviewed by police in this case, is that right?
Yes.
Your family is connected to people at Boston Police Department. We've just talked about that, Brian Albert, is that right?
Well, was a Boston police officer.
Right. So when I say connected, there is some familial or family or friendly connection to that police agency, Boston Police Department. It'd be Brian Albert in this case, correct?
The objection sustained.
There's also a connection to the Massachusetts State Police through your family, is that right? Objection.
So define connection.
Julie and Chris Albert are very, very close to you, correct?
I'm close with Julie, of course, yes.
You're aware that Michael Proctor's sister, Courtney, is basically best friends with Julie.
No, I'm not aware of that. She's best friends with Julie's sister, Jillian.
Okay, so Courtney's best friends with Jillian, who's sisters to Julie,
Yes.
who's married to Chris, who's an Albert, who's the little brother of Brian Albert.
Yes.
Okay. And Canton Police Department, there's also some connections there as well, Kevin Albert being the most obvious of them. Objection.
I'm going to allow that. Do you have a connection with the Canton Police Department?
Not with the department, but with Kevin Albert.
Right, who's a member of the department.
Yes, but my relationship's with him.
Understood. You've indicated that you've been interviewed by law enforcement agents associated with with Canton Police Department. That'd be Officer Lank.
Yes.
Can I
and
stop
Officer
you for a
Good.
second and see counsel inside back, please?
Sure.
What? suggestion. Well, I don't know what to tell you then.
Pizza Hut, Wilmington.
Thank you for the follow, Kel. Catnip, did you try the mummy mask? Or the witch mask? You think so? How was it? I wanted to see. Those are the people for that's John O'Keefe's family, mostly, and friends. Different in a good way or a bad way? Thank you for the follow, Ann. I wanted a picture, just so you know. You didn't send me a picture. Was it green? I want to see it. I want to do the pumpkin one soon. Thank you, Connie. How are you? Good to see you. This is the defense's turn to cross Jen McCabe. However, there's been another sidebar. I lost count on our sidebars for the day, guys. Sorry. Thank you, LT. I think I am. My husband's sick, and that's who's behind me, and he's more sniffling than me.
Sorry.
No, you're fine.
Jurors, right this way, please leave your notebooks on the chairs.
All right, we could zoom right on past this. I'll get it for you later.
Chris, thank you for your patience. Sometimes there are matters that we need to address, and that's what happened here. So I appreciate your patience. Mr. Jackson, could we please have Ms. McCabe back
Sorry,
in
Miss
here?
Jackson. I am for real. Sorry. Thank you for the follow. There. I have on bare minimum makeup. I'm starting to feel a little bit human. I agree with you. I love their masks. They're my favorite now.
Mr. Jackson, go right ahead.
Bless you, babe.
When last we left off, we were talking a little bit about some of the familial connections that your family has with certain law enforcement agencies. We talked about Boston Police Department, obviously, Brian Albert. We talked a little bit about Massachusetts State Police and knowing friends of friends with regard to Chris and Julie, correct? Yeah.
Knowing friends of Chris and Julie.
Friends of friends of Chris and Julie.
Is that your relationship?
With who?
I'd ask you about. I'll ask you a different question.
Okay.
A little bit vague.
It's by Skin 1004. Zombie and pumpkin masks.
Yes.
And obviously knows
And
Courtney also
Mummy and
knows
Witch.
Julie and Chris, correct?
Sustained.
And there's also a connection to Canton Police Department through Kevin Albert. Is that right?
I just got my new pumpkin or my new zombie.
Can you
one.
answer that? Is there a connection? Do you have a connection with the Canton Police Department through Kevin Albert?
Not with the police department, but Kevin Albert is Brian Albert's brother,
Right. And Kevin works for whom?
the Canton Police.
Thank you. So you've been interviewed many times by
You're welcome.
different law enforcement agencies, be they Massachusetts State Police, Canton Police, or otherwise, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Those interviews have not just been over the period of weeks, it's been over the period of weeks and months and even years since this occurred, correct?
Yes.
You were contacted by another law enforcement agency that was not Massachusetts State Police and not Canton Police Department at one point in April of 2023. Do you remember that?
Yes.
I want to talk for a second about that series of interview, or that interview. You were contacted at your residence by these members of this law enforcement agency, correct?
Yes.
All right. Later that same day, you did sit down with those same law enforcement officers for a formal interview. On that same day that you were contacted by them, they also went into your home and actually interviewed you, correct?
Yes, it was brief.
All right. Those law enforcement officers identified themselves as being associated with an agency that is not Massachusetts State Police. You understood that?
Yes.
And you understood that they were not involved with Canton Police Department either, correct?
Correct.
Completely separate agency, is that right?
Yes.
During the course of that interview, those officers informed you very specifically, Ms. McCabe, that it is a crime to lie to them, even during an interview, correct?
Yes.
Those law enforcement officers informed you that they were investigating certain circumstances attendant to John O'Keefe's death, correct?
They were very vague on what they were.
Understood.
I don't know what they were investigating.
But you did understand that it was having something to do with your involvement at 34 Fairview on January 28th, 29th, 2022. As a witness or otherwise?
Sustained as to certain terminologies.
Sure. Let me see if I can rephrase that, Ms. Dave. You were aware of the subject matter of their interview, right? They weren't interviewing about a car you bought last year, correct?
Thank you for the follow, Stephanie.
They were interviewing you about, basically, about what you're testifying to here, correct?
When I first spoke with them, the conversation was pretty vague.
But the subject matter, vague or specific, was about this subject matter.
Yes.
Okay,
Subject
fair
matter.
enough.
Jurisdiction?
No.
I know, I'm being funny.
They first contacted you telephonically.
Right there.
Called you on the phone. Is that right?
Actually, they walked up to my car.
They walked
you
up
for
to
the
your
follow,
car.
Kelsey.
Okay, that was the very first introduction, correct?
Yes.
At that point, they had not identified themselves, correct?
They didn't know.
All right, and at that point, you told them that you were not Jennifer McCabe. They asked you who you were, and you said,
I thought they were like selling something, so I was like, oh no, I'm not the homeowner.
Fair enough, fair enough. However, after they said, after you said, I'm not Jennifer McCabe, you walked into the house, they then called you on the phone.
Yes.
They were still sitting outside your house.
I don't know where they were, but they did call me.
They were close by.
I'm not aware.
Well, the call came almost immediately after you walked back in the house, correct?
I'm not sure how much time had passed.
Give me an idea. It wasn't an hour. It was
No, it was
5 to
soon
10
after. I'm just not sure. I can't tell you where they were located. I'm sorry.
okay. They told you that they would. At that point, they identified themselves as being law enforcement agents, correct?
When they called me, yes.
And they told you at that time that they were not with Canton Police. You knew at least they were not with Canton Police Department. They were not with troopers with Massachusetts State Police, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And they told you that they would like to have an interview with you. They'd like to have a sit-down talk with you, correct?
Yes.
You told them that you would be willing to submit to an interview, but you needed about 10 minutes to get ready, correct?
Yes.
You ultimately did allow them into your home, and you did sit down for a formal interview with them, correct?
Yes, brief, but yes.
And it was during that formal interview inside the home that it was explained to you that it would be a crime for you to lie to them on any material issue, correct?
Yes.
During the course of your interview, your husband, Matt McCabe, came home. Is that right?
Yes.
I do.
As these law enforcement agents continue to question you, as law enforcement officers continue to question you at some point, you inform them that you did not feel comfortable with any further questioning and you suspended the interview, correct?
Yes.
Before leaving, however, those same law enforcement officers asked you if you had contacted anyone in those 10 minutes when you indicated, I need 10 minutes to get ready, between the time they called you and the time that they showed up and came inside your house, correct?
Yes.
You told them that you'd contacted your husband, Matt McCabe,
Yes.
which is right, right?
Thank you,
And you told them
Connie.
that you had called Carrie Roberts before they interviewed you, correct? At that moment.
I'm not 100% sure, but if you have it, it seems like something I would do, but if you have it, could show me.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
If I may have just a moment, Your Honor.
Okay.
I have no idea, Kelsey. Thank you, Lucid. We're on day 7, that's all I know. If she is caught perjuring, she'll be the 4th one.
May I approach briefly?
Yes.
Welcome to the team, Stephanie.
First, I'm going to ask you, Ms. McCabe, if you recognize that as being a report of that, just generally. Yes or no?
It appears to be, yes.
May I, the court's going to stand by the witness stand for a couple of questions.
Yes.
I'm going to have that.
Sure.
I'm going to direct your attention on there.
After they're done with her, I'll get out my notes and tell you.
3 and 4, starting the second to the last full paragraph, going into page 5, top full. I'm sorry, page 4, top full paragraph. Okay.
If they want to, yes.
Review those 2 paragraphs, read them to yourself, and then look up and let me know when you're finished.
One of them was Carrie. The other was that EMT. Who was the third? I can't remember the third. We just got reported for reproduced content. It doesn't make it reproduce when you're sitting here talking about it. So maybe get a definition before you report that part. Just a little bit. Just a suggestion. My question is, though, why did she call Carrie during that 10 minutes? Why would she do that? I don't understand that. Well, my brain does, but logically.
No, some people are crazy.
She wasn't friends with Karen, no. But she was friends with Carrie. Or she is now, I guess you should say. She's friends with Carrie.
May I approach, Your Honor?
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you, Ms. McCabe.
Yes.
Did reviewing those paragraphs refresh your recollection as to whether or not as to what you told those agents initially? I'm sorry, what you told those officers initially from that other law enforcement agency, about
No.
who you contacted in that 10-minute interval?
Yes, I told them.
And
Right.
you told them that you had contacted your husband, Matt McCabe,
Yes,
and Carrie Roberts.
correct.
I want to stick with that for just a quick second. One of the first calls you made after being contacted by these other law enforcement officers from a different agency, one of the first calls you made was to Carrie Roberts. Is that right?
She was the first one.
That's what I'm asking. One of the first 2 calls you made, your husband,
Right.
come home, there's law enforcement outside my door. I'm guessing is what you said, correct?
That's another
I
question
don't
I have,
remember
Jen.
my exact words now, but I did ask him to come home, correct?
And
Yes.
Carrie Roberts.
Okay, yes,
You wanted to let Ms. Roberts know that you had been contacted by certain officers from a different agency, correct?
I was curious if they had already been to her.
That was
Because-
my next
Oh,
question.
yeah.
You also wanted to find out had these law enforcement officers from this different agency contacted her, correct?
Yes, because typically if
I
you
just
enter our
asked yes or no.
town, she's,
Ms. McCabe, yes or no?
oh, sorry, I was just trying to
That's
explain.
okay.
I'm sorry.
Is that why you contacted her, to find out if in fact they had contacted her before you? Yes or no?
Yes,
And
Can't
you
remember off
also
the top of my head.
wanted to find out what she told them, if she had been contacted by them, correct? That was your motive in calling.
no,
So you just wanted to find out, had she been contacted, but if she had said yes, you weren't gonna say, and what the hell did they say? What'd they ask you?
well, I can't say what I would have asked her, but I know I was calling to see if they had been there, yes.
That was
correct.
your intent.
2:30.
I called to ask her if they had been there, yes.
I have
So that
2:30
was
in my
your
notes.
intent, yes?
Yes,
Okay.
Jen McCabe.
Your motive in calling Carrie Roberts at that moment before your interview was to ensure that your story would line up with her story, Ms. McCabe. Isn't that right?
no, that is not.
If you guys are not following me and you want to continue watching, you might want to do a follow because we're going to have to reset.
I wanted to find out if she had talked to these particular law enforcement
People always
officers
got to ruin it.
and what she had told them so that your story could somehow align or it could inform how you responded to questions that they asked you. Isn't that true?
That's not true. We both know what happened. We don't have to have a story. There is no story. There's what happened, and that's it.
So if that's true, Ms. McCabe,
Mhm.
you have no reason to call Carrie and ask her if she had been contacted by these law enforcement agents, because it's just the truth, right?
We're going through this whole experience together. We call each other about everything.
There would
That's
be no
nothing
reason.
more than that.
So
I'm sorry.
Let her finish her answer. Go ahead, Ms. McCabe, you can finish that.
There's nothing more than me calling and saying, hey, did they come to your house? That's what we did when the media showed up, when Miss Reed's private investigator showed up. We just give each other the heads up, hey, somebody's coming. Because we're just like normal moms. We're not used to this.
And that's helpful in making sure that the stories she tells are consistent with the stories you tell to different law enforcement agencies, correct?
No, we are not telling stories.
So let her finish. You said no what?
I said, no, we're not telling stories. We don't have
That
to
was your
compare.
word. You said stories.
What you were saying was just the truth. There would be no reason for you to inquire about who's contacted her when. There'd be no reason.
There's no inquiring. It's like when when the ice cream truck was at the street next door and I'm saying, did the ice cream truck come? It's really that simple.
So you asked her.
Since they're paused, this is a good time. We have to reset since we got reported. So I will I will close the live and restart it immediately after. I will wait 5 minutes for everybody to be able to get back in. See you guys in a second.